Welcome back, everybody. Today I've got a brand new video on the channel, The Chronicles of Colvin. You're here with me again with Peyton Colvin, and today we're going to do a review of Creature Commandos so far. This is the first project to officially kick off the DCU. I'm going to start first with kind of a non-spoiler review, and then I'll get into some spoilery stuff and my thoughts on it overall. Critiques, nitpicks I have with it, because there's a lot. So to start off, I don't like Creature Commandos. I don't know why they decided to start with Creature Commandos, besides the obvious that it's James Gunn's pet project, and it's just James Gunn doing weird stuff that's in James Gunn's head is all I can get. The writing's not good. The plot is just kind of all over the place. There's no real theme. It's just a mess. Poorly written. The animation's not great. The songs aren't great. Music scores all over the place. It's just not a good mesh of a show, and no really plot point. Or I don't know why they started with this. I don't know why Superman wasn't the launch and then do all this weird offshoot stuff. But this is kind of my non-spoiler review. Not very good. If you like it, that's great. Film's subjective. It's art. Nobody's going to like everything. Not everybody's going to like everything. You're entitled to your opinion if you like it or not. So this is going to be kind of spoilery, so if you don't want to see this, go ahead and close out the video now if you want to watch and not be spoiled. But I'm going to start with the good, what I do like, or what I did take away that I thought was interesting from Creature Commandos. So to start, the Nightmare future sequence, I feel like has been kind of the glue holding the show together. We were teased, first few episodes, we were teased with the kind of the teasers of what to come, and we saw glimpses of this future. Superman on the cross, very Jesus-like-esque, I would say. And then we finally saw the scene, and we saw Superman, we saw Batman, we saw other members of the Justice League, Peacemaker, all dead in this future scene, all crucified. I thought one interesting thing when we finally saw Batman was, if you look closely, yes, it's animation, but if you look closely, it definitely looks like it's Robert Pattinson's Batman that's hanging up on the cross. The ears, the cowl, everything looks like Pattinson. It even has the collar on the cape like Pattinson's Batman has on the cape. If you've been paying attention to everything that's going on, you kind of know what's going on behind the scenes, and that James Gunn wants Robert Pattinson in his DCU. That's a whole nother video topic I'll get to. Something else that was interesting about that was that it was confirmed by James Gunn that it was Wally West, not Barry Allen, is the Flash in the sequence, which was interesting. Usually we have Barry, but now it looks like they're going to go with Wally West for maybe a younger Flash in the DCU, which I think could work, but I think you still have to have Barry. So I think they need to use Barry as like an older, wiser, kind of Jay Garrick version of the Flash in the DCU. Maybe he could have been a member of the Justice Society prior, maybe be a mentor for Wally. I think that would be good, and you'd still have Barry as well as Wally. The thing that I kind of caught on to, they used Grodd instead of Darkseid, and it very much felt like it was just kind of a cheap copy of the Nightmare sequence from the Snyderverse, where you had Darkseid, but now you have Grodd instead. Now let's get to the bad, and there's like 4 pages of bad, and I'll highlight on each kind of topic I have just a quick jot down of a note. So to start off, it's just weird. It's over the top, just kind of weird. James Gunn likes weird. Sometimes he pulls it off, sometimes he doesn't. He doesn't pull it off with this. It's just too weird. It's all over the place. It's not cohesive. It's just weird. The writing's juvenile. It's awful. It's like they took a locker room of junior high boys and made them write a funny script that they think's funny, but nobody else finds funny. That's how I see it. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree. The song and music choices, the scores, it's way too distracting. Every scene there's a song comes on, it's like it's a rock song, and it just pulls you away from what's going on in the scene. It's just distracting on what happened is what's happening. It just makes you not care about what's going on. The animation isn't impressive. It's cheap looking. It's basic animation you would have seen in the early 2000s. There's nothing spectacular about it that they could have done to make this look better. I don't know why animation was the choice. I feel like they could have done live action, and this would have been probably better. And especially since the voice actors that are playing the characters are supposed to be the actors in live action per James Gunn. So why are we doing animation when we could have done live action, made more money, made it more cohesive, makeup, the VFX could have been great, but I feel like they just took a cheap route because this was just something James Gunn wanted to do. If you compare it to another animated show that came out a year ago, on the other side, X-Men 97 blows this way out of the water. The writing, the music, the voice actors, everything was way better than what Creature Commandos is, and the plots and the storyline were immensely better. And speaking of the voice actors, some of the actors in this just are awful. David Harbour's Frankenstein is awful. Dude acts like he just phoned the whole thing in, like he's just at home and read off his lines, like no emotion, no nothing is going into this. And this was from the first episode, but the whole vibe between Rick Flag and the princess was just off the charts weird. Like perverted, like almost pedophilic, like it was just weird. And the whole scene with them, like the whole sex scene that we got, like with the noises and the furniture banging and everybody outside with the comment like, oh, he won't take long, he's old. Like, why? Like, juvenile humor, like why was that even included? So then, as we progress through that, you killed off one of the characters in episode 3 with G.I. Robot, which I didn't care about the character because there was no character development or growth or anything with the character. It was one thing: kill Nazis. G.I. Robot, kill Nazis. That's all we got. That's all he was. And then they just kill him off in episode 3. It's like these characters are just niche characters that James Gunn pulled out of comics. They're like C, D level characters that no one cares about and no one asked for to see a project with these characters. There's no explanation on what their character powers are, what they can do. We get little snippets of backstory of each character in each episode as it goes along. But those snippets don't even make you empathetic or care about the character at all. For example, the Weasel episode, did no one care about the kids burning in the building? A school's burning down. 3 adults tried to kill Weasel, and none of them were concerned about the kids, 2 of which were cops. And it was blatantly obvious that Weasel is trying to pull these kids out of the burning building, but instead of trying to get the kids out, we just shoot Weasel and leave the kids to burn to death and die in a school. Like, what are we watching? The Frankenstein episode, he just randomly kills the woman that helped him heal and get back to himself, and she was blind. She couldn't even see him. Who was she going to tell? She was a little old lady that lived in the woods, a gypsy. But he just kills her out of nowhere and just leaves. Like, these characters aren't relatable. Like, they're just bad characters that no one cares about. And we're expected that we're just supposed to care about them with these stories that aren't even making them empathetic. The Bride in Dr. Phosphorus. This dude, like, is he Dr. Manhattan? What is this guy's powers? Those two single-handedly took out a whole army in the last episode. Who's who's supposed to stop them? There's Are they going to have to call Superman? Like, who who can stop them? Because right now, the Bride and Dr. Phosphorus look like they're invincible and can do anything and have any power imaginable. He's like Dr. Manhattan. He just walks through everything, vaporizes everybody. Like, they're overpowered. Speaking of the Bride, there was also that weird, awkward sex scene with her and the doctor when he had brought her back to life, which he's basically a corpse. Did we really need that scene? Like, it was blatantly obvious he cared for her. He gave her the necklace. He was passionate about her and he cared for her. Did we need to see that scene? Henry Cavill's done an interview where he spoke out about how sex scenes don't need to be overfilled in the content, whatever you're filming, unless it has an important piece of the plot or the narrative. And it does not in this show at all. Like, we could have done without the Rick Flag and the princess scenes. We could have done without the doctor and the bride scenes. It was just weird. It was nasty, dirty. I don't know why it was included in there. Clayface, again, was another one. His whole introduction was perverted. The whole lesbian thing at the college, like, why? It's just political. Like, it's just James Gunn shoving the political wokeness down everybody's throat. And that's not what anybody wanted with the DCU. We wanted a fresh start. We wanted fresh characters. We wanted to get back. No wokeness. Just great stories. And we're not getting that. Like, the Penguin's an example of a great show that you can do with a villain and make it good. And these are villains that aren't wrote good. They're just jokes. It just feels like James is trying to be funny, but he doesn't come off as funny. He comes off as a juvenile, high school boy, toilet bowl humor. And that's all it is with this. They're trying to write these characters, but you end up liking them less when it's done. In G.I. Robot, Carrie's Nina rips a bathtub. I get it, it's animation. But this is supposed to be set in the DCU. So you have to make it, at some point, you have to have a realistic take on this whole world that you're building. I'm sorry, but when somebody rips a bathtub out of a bathroom to carry Nina, who has to stay underwater, they rip the bathtub out of the floor to carry it downstairs, and no water drains out of this bathtub. I get it. It's animation. But there has to be a realistic approach somewhere. And there's none of that. Like, this is all just fantasy land, dumb, stupid humor. I feel like I'm losing brain cells watching it. I'm glad there's only 2 episodes left, but it got renewed for a season 2. How and why, I don't know, because I have no idea what story they're telling. It's just all over the place. Bad. Like I said with the good, there's only those 3 things that were good, and I don't even know if I would call them good, because it just seems like a cheap copy of the nightmare sequence from the Snyderverse. They just put a different spin on it, and it's a little bit interesting with the characters they're using as that. So there's 2 episodes left. I'm gonna imagine they're gonna stop Cersei. They're gonna stop the princess from doing whatever she was going to do to destroy the world, because it's predictable. The story's not good. It's not great. There's definitely, this could have been wrote way better. The acting could have been way better. Most of the actors just looks like they're reading lines. They're not putting anything into it. They got a paycheck and that's it. There's no more to this than that. So that's my thoughts on Creature Commandos so far. I will do another video when the next 2 episodes air. I don't know if I'll do a video for each episode or if I'll just do one video at the end and just incorporate this all into it as well. But that's my thoughts. That's my review on Creature Commandos. It's not for me. Maybe it's for you, and that's great, but it's not for me, and it's not what I wanted from this new DCU. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments, what you thought of this video. If you liked it, give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a like. Subscribe, leave some comments, whatever. We'll see you on the next video.